say, you know what Auntie Monique used to do to get music? They go, what? Back in the 1900s? I go, what? I go, first of all, when you went in the car as a family, somebody would yell, shotgun. You can't do that now. People react strongly. But you would yell, you know? And then you'd get in the front seat, and whoever sat in the passenger seat was in charge of the music. And it wasn't an app, and it wasn't connected to your phone. It was a radio with buttons. And you had presets, and you had an antenna. And you would go eat at a burger joint, and you'd get an antenna topper. You had a little ball on the top of your antenna that let your neighbors know if you were what team. If you were Team Whataburger, you know what I mean? Or you were a Jack in the Box, whatever, you had that antenna topper. You're looking at me like this is a history lesson. Yeah, you call your parents when you get home, and you tell them how lucky you are. To be born in Shazam days.
Hello, everybody, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. I'm Shelley Coleman. This is the Funny Women of a Certain Age podcast, and that you just heard was the marvelous Monique Marvez, which actually was what that show was going to be called, but there was a scheduling conflict, so it was Mrs. Maisel instead. But more to the point, we have Monique Marvez with us right now, joining me and Leighann Lord. Let's say hi. Everybody say hi.
Hi.
Hello, Monique. Monique, this is the first time we're speaking.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
The pleasure's mine.
And I will say, for those who are listening, because this is not video, this is just audio, Monique has decided to turn her camera off because she does not want us to see her pajamas.
You gave me the option.
I did give her the option. Remind me.
And for the record, it's a tie-dye hippie house dress that's quite form-fitting, so I look nice in it, but I'm not wearing any makeup and my hair's erect, so I look like a Korean man in drag with an amazing figure.
Wow.
And so I'm just going to have to imagine that.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a visual. And you know what? You know you must be special, Monique, because I didn't even get the option. I've never had the option. I've had to show up here. I am also in a house dress.
But it looks nice. It's a pretty house dress.
Thank you.
That's the whole point of doing just audio, because that way nobody has to wear makeup. You don't have to do your hair. It's theater of the mind.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Monique, first of all, how are you doing vis-a-vis the fires? Is everything out now? Were you affected by that?
I was affected in two ways. Number one, you know, it's your community. Like, it hurts your feelings because everybody kept talking about, you know, I don't know what the rating on this is, so I'll keep it in the county lines, but
no, that's fine. Say whatever you want.
People were just talking about, you know, rich folks and screw them and second house in the Palisades. And, you know, and the reality is Altadena is a working class minority neighborhood where there was generational wealth being built. People were buying houses for the first time. I went to Fire Aid, spent way too much on the ticket, but hey, I got to see Joni Mitchell. And
nice.
And the upshot is they were showing the stories of the people. And there are people that inherited condos in the Palisades that are school teachers on fixed incomes whose parents did well. And, you know, and in Altadena, a Latina school teacher saved up 21 years to put a down payment on her house that she had for 5 before it burnt to the ground. So, you know, you don't want to start off a funny podcast talking about this, but I know a lot of the country has an idea of what LA is. And I'm going to just use an analogy. The Bible is not a book. It is a compilation of 44 books with very different stories that strike people in very different ways. Los Angeles is a city built of micro neighborhoods. Like, truly, if you move to the valley after living in Hollywood, you might as well move to China. Your friends aren't coming over the hill for you. It's over. And you know,
not for nothing, but there is there's a correlation between Queens and Brooklyn. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, so the fact that when people, I figure as much, the brook and they call you guys the bridge and tunnel people, you know, I mean, I get, you know, Miami, you know, it's the same in Miami versus, you can live in Fort Lauderdale, it's 45 minutes. Nobody's going to your house. So the upshot is you know, these people are are struggling, and
Yeah.
it hurts you to feel it. There is a collective unconscious, there is a feeling. The first few days after the fires were semi contained, but nothing more horrific was going to happen, it felt like day 3 of COVID. The streets
Wow.
were empty. People were scared. People were,
Yeah.
eyes were red from clearly crying in grocery stores. So that, thank you for asking. I'll get off the soapbox now, but
Well,
I
no,
just want I
because you
want
are
the rest
in.
of the country to know.
Yeah. Well, sure. That's you're in Los Angeles proper. Is that correct?
Yes, I live right on Hollywood and Vine.
Oh my goodness.
I
And so that's how
know.
you got discovered, no doubt.
No, I got
No.
discovered in a gay bar on South Beach, but that's another story.
Similar. Hollywood and Vine, South Beach.
Yeah, very
Apples and
similar.
oranges or something.
Fruit,
Anyway,
a lot of fruit, my
a
friend.
lot exactly. That's
A
what I was
lot of
going for. The fruit
fruits.
connection.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad you're doing okay. And Leanne, how
I'm
are you doing? I
amazing.
haven't seen you for a bit.
Oh, I'm doing as well as one can be in the worldwide changing environs of yeah.
I think the Chiron underneath would say, "Nuff said."
Yeah, yeah, changing daily,
Yeah.
hourly, and I try not. I it's what's always challenging right now is striking the balance between being informed and being overwhelmed,
Yeah.
and the Venn diagram of that is a pure circle. It's just you
Informed
know
equals overwhelmed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I try to not doom scroll. I'm on Instagram, and even the cats I see on Instagram are like, "Are y'all gonna do something like humans? What's going on?"
Is that what it's so funny how even the jargon changes from day to day. Like, I'm a grown
Yes,
ass woman with a full life that doesn't have time to keep up. So I've seen the word doom scrolling a lot recently. So evidently it's a
yes.
new thing, like baby bump and envy bod. And I don't have time for new words. Like, I speak proper American English and proper Castilian Spanish, and
Mm-hmm.
but I can tell in context what it is, and you are correct.
Well, the again, it is very difficult to keep up with what, as an English major, I will say colloquialisms. Like, what are the kids saying now? And I don't usually know because the children don't talk to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is looking at social media, and you're just endlessly, scrolling, literally scrolling, and it is one bad post after another,
Can I,
depending on who you're following.
well, I
Do you know what I mean? Because
agree.
yeah,
I agree. I follow a lot of manifesting sites, and I'm going to be very blunt because we're grown up people here. Calling being on social media doom scrolling is redundant. It's like saying lesbian folk singer. It's like saying old Polish neighborhood. Like, is there a new Polish neighborhood? Because it's redundant. That's the way social media was set up. Let me just give you a heads up, my friends. There's 5 rejects from Epstein Island, who are running. If you're very honest with yourself, you got your Elon, you got your Bezos, you got your Zuckerberg. Like, these people, and maybe because I'm in media and I did radio for years, there's 2 ways that radio succeeds and makes money, because they get listenership. A, they sell your information. It used to be mailing lists. B, they
hmm
sell advertising. That's it. Social media is just new horrible radio on steroids. They're still selling your information. They're still selling advertisement, and all they're doing is zhuzhing the stay tuned, to be able to sell your information and sell advertisements. And since I've worked for radio companies. And by the way, when I worked for Emis in Indianapolis, they are not like that. Emis means the truth in Yiddish, and the company's run by an incredibly righteous man, but it's one company,
Right.
Emis Communications. The variety are very large, large, large companies. I'm not going to mention any names. One of them sometimes has a heart in its name. But the point I'm saying is that, you know, I've eschewed social media almost. I was witness protection comedian. Witness. I used to tell people I am the Tom Waits of comedy. Like, I have and then last year I was the #1 dry bar special. And what I will tell you is, if you do what you ladies do, and I know you, Leanne, you just keep putting out good work, The bottom line is I've been booked, I've been paid, I live at the W, I drive a BMW, and I didn't need to show my ass, show my boobs. I did it in the 90s, when it was analog, when you could deny it, when you could show your boobs and sleep with the doorman at the Improv and lie
Wait a
about it in
second.
the next town.
Hang on a second. Wait a second. What are analog boobs?
Analog boobs mean if you weren't in the room, if
Yep.
you weren't in the room, you didn't
Oh.
see them, baby.
Yep.
Oh, I see.
No
They
paper
were not being
trail.
shared. They were
Because
not
that
being,
sounds
there
like one
was
of those
no rapid
expressions.
speed of exposure.
But that sounds like one of those expressions that I don't know what it means, which means that some teenage girl came up with it.
No,
Because
I
from what
just said it to
I
you
read
right now.
recently, okay, well, I heard recently that the people who are driving innovation in language are teenage girls, which means I will never know anything because I'm old and teenage girls don't talk to me. But I figured analog boobs, that sounds like a teenage girl thing.
Just so you know,
Yeah.
this is what's crazy. During COVID, somebody called me and said, hashtag Monique Marvez has 190 million views on TikTok. I said, well, I'm not on TikTok. It's Chinese spyware. And they said, well, you're trending on TikTok. And can I tell you, my entire demographic is teenage girls and girls in their 20s.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Love
Those are
it.
my people because
I guess
I don't
so.
play. Like I don't play any of this. They're like, am I being trolled? Well, don't look. It's fake, right? You don't have to do this. It's not real life.
Now
My
wait a
niece was
second.
sobbing. Somebody did something there on social media. I'm like, do you know the person? She's like, no. I go, so you're letting a stranger you never met upset you? Like, what is the matter with you? I raised you better than that.
Wow.
I,
Well,
I
now,
think that's what we call the benefit of multi-generational relationships that will give you that perspective, on both sides, because young folks have things to share and teach
Absolutely.
us as well. But I love when grown women go, girl, come here, let me tell you something. And do you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
miss getting that tap on the shoulder. And sometimes that's all you need is for somebody to just snatch you up and straighten you out or give you a different way of looking at something. Girl, stop crying. You don't know these people.
That's what I go, let me ask, are they paying your bill? No. Have you seen their wiener? No. Then they're not important to you. I mean, as a straight woman, that's my
Right.
thing.
Insert your body part of choice here.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be a hoo-ha, it could be whatever you want, but it's like, unless you're intimate with this individual or they're paying your bills, it don't exist. The Matrix was a documentary. It's an illusion.
no, now I had to go to the internet to get some information, and according to Chat GPT,
Oh,
Monique,
yes.
you are the go-to for podcasters, and that's really the only reason we're having you on because Chat
Thank you.
GPT told me to.
I'm on Adam Carolla Monday.
Oh, perfect, perfect. So we got you first. Ha ha. Adam Carolla can kiss my whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let me ask you something. I watched your stuff on YouTube,
Thank you.
and I got to say you talk a lot about relationships.
I do.
And as one who is not in one and has not been in one for decades and probably will never be in one, I have a couple of questions.
Anything you want, my love.
Okay, so you've been married 4 times?
No,
3 times?
3. Wikipedia is saying I've got a new husband and live in Encinitas. I don't know where they got that info, but maybe it's a
Maybe it's
manifestation.
aspirational. Yeah, right? They got hopes for you.
Thank you.
So,
I've been married 3 times.
3 times. Okay.
It's in my act.
And, yeah, and each of your parents was married multiple times too. Is that correct?
Yep, that's in my act too.
Okay, so let me ask you: was it a Groupon? Did you get a family discount? What happened?
No, this is what I tell people on cruise ships because it makes me happy. I say, if you got a kid, I say it during the adult show. I say it if you got a kid and they're annoying or a spaz or just something's wrong with your kid. After this show, I want you to go in your tiny little cruise ship bathroom and lean into that mirror and ask yourself, how might I have contributed to this? It gets a huge laugh. Because I tell people your children ride in you for 9 months, but you ride in them forever. And I explain how my parents, they normalized multiple marrying. They normalized this isn't going well, I'm out of here. And that's how it works. People normalize obesity. They normalize generational illnesses. They normalize, it's how it works. So after my third marriage failed, I now say I'm not designed for marriage. It's a period at the end of a beautiful sentence. I'm good with a semicolon. There might be more sentence, but I haven't been in a relationship in a minute. And here's the deal. That's not true. We're always in relationship because we're dealing with other human beings all day, every day. So if
True.
you're not seeing other people's naughty bits, then that's a choice, and that's cool, and I respect that. Uh, Me right now, I'm taking a naughty bit break, but
Okay.
yeah, but I'm revving up the engines. I think there might be a slump buster in my not terribly distant future. I don't know if there's a relationship or not, but I can feel a slump buster on the horizon.
Hang on, that's
And
another thing I got to write down. Wait, slump buster
yeah,
in
that's a
in the
sports
love
Hashtag.
term.
boobs. Got to take a note
See,
there.
I would never have known that. But that's
Well,
very
it's
baseball, I
baseball. It's a
guess.
baseball
Yes.
term. It
Okay.
is. And
Yes.
women have a very hard time. We're not raised to believe, like, you know what? You're not the one. I'm not going to marry you. I'm not going to bear your children. We're not going to be together forever. I need to blow out the pipes, do a little yelling, have a good time, you know, and you know, let's do the naked lambada. It's dancing with a little more, you know, just you add a couple of moves.
Yeah, no, women are not raised that way, at least in generations heretofore.
No, I'm
Uh,
here to tell you. And then they go the other way. The young girls, look, we're not
whew.
designed. It's not a sport. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a sport. So I say in my act, I am not advocating promiscuity. That damages people. What I'm advocating is if it feels right and the moment is there, like no one ever laid in their coffin and said, I'm sure glad I turned down that guy in 1989 with the goatee. Like nobody did
Wait a second.
that.
No, you didn't meet him. You don't know him. I trust me. It is a good thing I turned down that guy in 1989 with the goatee.
Because I'm here to tell you, my mom's 82 and she's starting to slip gears and she's starting to tell me
Ooh,
things that either she did or wish she did. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot more on the wish she did than the she did.
that is a special time. It's like, wait, what? There was somebody before daddy? Ma'am, what are you saying?
Oh yeah. My mom's like, remember that young because my mom taught nursing. She's like, remember that young occupational therapist that one time came over? Yeah, I did him. I'm like, what?
Woo. And you can't TMI old folks. They don't get it. They in their story. They are going to tell you whether you're
And they're
ready to
not
hear it
only
or
in their
not.
story, they want you to know I was not always the boring old lady. You know what I mean? Like, I think as women get old, they get
Yes.
scared that they're going to be remembered for all the things they work so hard to uphold. It's like, if you didn't want me to think you were a tight ass, boring Catholic, why was that the show you put on for 50 years? Like, you could have shut that shit down and done Cats. You
It's
know?
now, Monique, you know it's really complicated. You know
I know,
the
I
the
know.
roles that yeah, you
I'm
know the
being
roles that women
glib.
are forced to play. My mom used to give it a phrase: says many a gay blade turns to a sword of righteousness. I don't know what book or movie she got that from, but
Sounds
my
George
fam.
Hamilton and
Thank you.
Zorro. Yeah, that's
Thank
exactly.
you. My family was quick to tell me as soon as I could understand it. If I had ever been to two parties in my life, my mom was at one of them. So my mom was the turn up girl. And she was proud of it, even though she eventually sort of morphed into, very quiet Catholicism lady. I'm like, ma'am, no. The DJ called you out by name.
Yeah. I wish that was my mom. My mom was
Mm,
my mom's going through this thing. I get the hardest laugh because people feel truth in their stomach. And I'll stand on
mm,
stage and I'll say, now that my mom likes me, and
mm. Girl.
it gets a huge laugh because I
Yeah.
people feel it. And then
Mm-hmm.
and when you say women are forced, I'm missing a chip, Leanne. I think because my mom didn't like me until I was 37 at all. Then she started
Mm.
working on it. She admits it, by the way.
Wow.
But she told me to take it out of my act. Uh,
Too
she
late.
asked me. No, true fact. Everything I'm about
Mm-hmm.
to say to you is true. It's going to sound funny, but I was a daddy's girl. There's a whole lot that goes into saying that out loud. I was very close with my father. My parents had very challenging they married each other twice. This is all on the internet, but very challenging relationship with each other, with as parents, as co-parenting, as multiple marriers. You know, it was a lot, right? So that being said, my dad and I were ridiculously close. My mother, my father, and everyone who knew us described us literally as a tribe of two. Like that was it, a tribe of two.
Mm-hmm.
And that being said, I work hard, I play hard, I'm a different kind of animal. And boyfriends would break up with me and say, "It's not you, you're perfect, it's me. You're amazing, it's me." And I called my mom when I was 37. I've been through the worst heartbreak to this date of my life. And I said, if one more man tells me I'm perfect on his way out the door, I'm going to shoot myself through the roof of my mouth. Now, I was not ever going to do that, but I thought it would elicit some truth. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, I feel like people admire me and love me and respect me, but on some level, they don't even like me. People, and she said, you're not, I said, I feel like even you didn't like me or don't like me. I might have even said it present tense. And she said, you're not wrong. I didn't like
Wow.
you and I resented you most of your life. She didn't even think of
Wow.
that's going in a script, right?
Wow.
And,
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
and
That
she
makes
want
Christmas dinner awkward.
a little funky. And a whole lot more conversation transpired, but what she basically said was your dad imbued you with so much self-confidence, whatever, that you
Oh.
were like, I have, and I'm not kidding, Leighann, I'm missing chips. Like I tell people, I'm like IKEA furniture. I'm missing parts. They did not go in. The drawers
So you
roll
just
in
need
and
to
out
find the
smoothly.
right Allen wrench to fix everything. Is that right?
Yeah, a couple of
No,
dowels.
no can do. And the reason why I say that is because I want people to like me, but maybe on some level, because from a very young age, my mother didn't, I am missing the female
Mm.
people pleaser gene. I don't have it.
Oh.
So I meet men, like I wrote Mars Venus Live with John Gray, and John Gray himself said, you have a lot of dude energy. And I said, what does that mean? I'm a girly girl. I like the wiener more than anybody I know. And he basically said, you're decisive. You're not a people pleaser. You make decisions very quickly. You don't gossip. You have no small talk. Like he listed all of these very male qualities, and or what are presumed to be male qualities,
Presumed.
and
Mm-hmm.
presumed, and I had to, guilty is charged. Guilty is charged. Like when I say I'm doing something, people go like, "Well, you can't do that. You have to think it through. Like why not?" And I'm like, "No, I'm doing that." And then I do it. And people are like, wow. And I've been that way my whole life.
So do you ever have any regret? I mean, do you ever do something
Nope.
and go, "Ooh,
Nope.
well, maybe I should
Nope.
have thought that through."
Nope. Not at all. Because here's what I tell people, and this is how I've lived, and it angers people. I say, look, at some point, I'm going to be in a box. Maybe I'll be cremated. I don't know. But I'm going to be in
Mm-hmm.
a box, and somebody's going to pick up a shovel, and then there's going to hear a thud of dirt. I won't be there, but there'll be a thud of dirt. I'll be watching, of course, because I'll want to know how they planned it and what they put me in. Um, But I tell people between now and the thud of dirt, I have to know that if I screwed up, it was on me. Because when I was very young, my father told me, very, very, very young, my father said, Monique, the mistakes you make on your own are not mistakes. You learn from them, you grow from them. He said, the ones that people have regrets are when you knew better and someone talked you into it, or you did something to make somebody else happy. He goes, and I knew he was talking about his life, his life. But he said, when you don't follow your knowledge, your knowingness, he said, those are the ones you never get over. And he said it with such strength. He goes, Monique, just respect the veracity of your own mind at all times. He said, even if you go up against me, I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you if you do go against me and do something I don't think you should do. Trust the veracity of your own mind always.
Leighann is nodding sagely.
I
I see there's
am.
a
I
story
am
there
because
too.
it's, well, no, I just feel like we had very similar fathers, even though my mother and I were incredibly close. So I did get that female Not
Nope, not me
necessarily
at
a
all. My mom
people
and I,
pleaser, but you got but one time to take advantage of that, and then I will not necessarily quiet quit you. But no, my dad was very, very strong in my life. I was very much a daddy's girl. I say that very proudly. I was the favorite. I was his
me
favorite
too.
daughter. I was his only daughter. But
Amen.
to the what fathers, good fathers, bring to their daughters,
It's everything.
it's everything. I would not be the woman I am today without both of them. But the lessons my father gave me in particular, he was the first person I told I wanted to do comedy. He was the person I told. And I will never forget it. I wrote about it in my book. My dad turned to me and he said, "What took you so long?"
Oh, wow. Wow.
Right. And so my dad has always been in my corner. And when you have a man like that in your life, it's really hard for men in general to step to you with nonsense when you've seen what wonderful is. Do you know what I
Uh,
mean?
Up to I know
Yeah.
what look. I have a line in my one woman show where I say, "My father left me nothing except everything I am."
Wow.
That's beautiful.
It blows people. You can hear the gasp sometimes in the audience when it lands.
Hmm. Yeah.
Tell me about the show. What is it called?
Oh, well, I did a one woman show at the Fringe Festival in Edmonton, which is the second largest after Edinburgh in Canada. It's called Not Skinny, Not Blonde. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a longer, stronger version of my Showtime comedy special. Obviously, a comedy special is just comedy. So
Right.
I whittled it into, Not Skinny, Not Blonde. The 1 hour Showtime special was the funny condensation of
Mm-hmm.
Not Skinny, Not Blonde, which was the 90-minute one woman show I did at the Fringe Festival. I haven't done
Oh,
it in
okay.
years, but it did very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Any thoughts about bringing that back?
Well, I'm actually, thank you for asking.
Sure. That's
The
what I'm here
reason it was
for.
called Not Skinny, Not Blonde was because I originally had a book deal with Hay House, and I wanted to call the book "It's Not Unusual."
Mm-hmm.
I have an obsession with Tom Jones that has lasted me to this moment, and B, it's because your life to you is normal because you don't have
Yeah.
any other frame of reference. So if
Yeah.
your
Mm-hmm.
parents were drug dealers in Miami or Mormons in Utah, it's not unusual to you. Your life is your life and it's perfectly normal to you. And when other people judge it or have opinions about it or whatever. So I wanted to call it that on for many reasons on multiple levels. So when I had the book deal with Hay House, they originally agreed to that title. And then they were like, well, you know, anyway, there was some conversation and I changed it to Not Skinny, Not Blonde, which they loved.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wrote it and I have a 1,200-page manuscript. And when I wrote it, I jokingly said I owe Louise Hay money. She was still alive. I was at her 80th birthday. I said I
Mm-hmm.
owe her money because writing this book, and I wrote some chapters many, many times, which is why it's 1,200 pages. It's like Harry Potter. Um, I wrote, just changing the syntax of words will change the meaning of them, where you put them, punctuation.
Oh, yes.
So the upshot is I saw patterns in my life. I basically reinvented myself while writing the book. The book took on a life of its own and became my alter ego, like my roadmap. It was it was amazing what happened in the time that I wrote it. It took a long time, like let's say 90, like a year and a half, like 18 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I was done, I had one of the highest first time author. They money they give you to start the book. I forget what it's called, but it's 50. It was fifty
Oh, in
thousand dollars
advance?
in
In
advance.
advance. Yeah.
In advance.
I was
Hmm.
on the radio doing morning drive in San Diego, making a bunch of money, and I gave them back the money and kept the manuscript. I said my life is worth more to me than this, and
Wow.
and I still have it. So thank you for asking, because what I'm going to do is start what I'm calling a lit cast, which is a literature cast. And
Oh.
I'm going to do the book as a series of immersive stories with like show and tell, with
Mm-hmm.
pictures and sound bites and video clips of my stand up in the 90s, and I'm going to call it It's Not Unusual because that's what I wanted to call it. And
Yeah.
it's going to be a lit cast that I'm probably going to launch in early May. So thank you for asking. The book will
Oh,
come to life in a whole different way.
cool. Now, let me
Love
just
that.
say for anyone who isn't familiar, Louise Hay is she still alive? I think she's still
No,
alive.
she died a few
She
years
no.
back.
Mhm.
Okay. She was a motivational speaker and an author, and she wrote a very famous book called "You Can Heal Your Life," which I'm sure is still available
It's one of the
all kinds
best-selling
of.
works of nonfiction in history.
Yeah, so it's definitely still available in Barnes and Noble, local bookstores, whatever. And there's probably an audio book too, I
It's
would
an
imagine.
amazing book. She was an amazing woman. I feel privileged to have met her and to have been considered for a book deal by her company. And like I've said before, I owe her a debt of gratitude because without that approval and that advance, I would have not have dug in as hard as I did to try to create something amazing. When people believe in you, that puts wind in your sails. When great people believe in you, it's a game changer.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
cool. Wow.
Rest in
Let's
peace,
just take a
Louise.
second and let that just settle, so everybody can go, "Wow, she's really cool. She knows a lot of stuff." Because you clearly you do. Um,
I will jump in here just for a quick second to say that Monique, when you and I were on tour, what I enjoyed and what this is always the fun part, it's the green room conversations and oh
Absolutely.
right, I got to do a show. Like, all right, I'm next. But the conversations, the wisdom, the experiences, the knowledge that you would drop just ever so casually, or maybe it wasn't, but it seemed that way to me. I'm like, that's worth the price of admission. Do you know
Thank
what I
you.
mean?
It was, and thank you for saying that. I was just talking about my second husband to my bestie of 38 years right before I called you guys. And it was so interesting because he told me once, you know what's the matter with you? Which if I had $1 for every man that said, you know what's the matter with you, like I would have the best house and you girls would be like on a private jet. I'd never own a
wait,
private jet, but
is
I
that
would do
right
flex
before
jet.
or right after they tell you that you're perfect?
It's funny you should say that because that is the absolute conundrum. And then I said, okay, I'll bite what? And he said, you need a hobby. You're too intense. You think a lot. You need a hobby. And
Well,
you have zero small talk. And I said, ha, you're wrong. I have a hobby. Big talk. That was not what he was looking for.
no, it
No,
never is it? It never is. So now let me ask
no.
you about how did you connect with funny women of a certain age?
I knew Carol like about a million years ago when she used to do Crazy Girls in Vegas. I used to play
Ah,
Vegas. And when she went on vacation, they asked me to replace her, or maybe she even
Oh,
recommended
cool.
me. And I did Crazy Girls for a week. Steve Sharippa was our manager, the guy who ended up on The Sopranos, because he used to run the Riv. And he would call me and go, Monique, like that. And he'd go, you know any comedians that'll perform topless? Like, I know you won't, you know. Even though the money's good, I know you won't. But do you know
Wow.
anyone? And I would. He called me once on my birthday. I said, Steve, it's my birthday today, and he said, "Old chicken makes the tastiest soup, Monique." But um, but yeah, he ran Crazy Girls, and
That
I
took me
did
a
it.
second. I had wait, what old chick? Okay, I get it. I get
I
it.
didn't even know
yeah.
that. I don't even know if it's true, but he said it very emphatically.
Uh
And
huh.
so we knew each other in Vegas. Like that's how far back. I'm talking 30 years.
Right.
So she called me because I had several Showtime. I had 3 Showtime specials before Funny Women. I had Snoop Dogg Presents, I had Latin Divas, and then my own 1 hour. And she called me May of 20, um, of 21, and she said, I had this franchise and I've thought of you, but whatever. I never took it personal that she didn't call me before the third one. And she said,
Mm-hmm.
Showtime loves you, and it's Carol. Like, I don't know what the money's going to be. I don't know when we're shooting. I don't know what's going on, but I just want to know if you were on board. And I said, look, you sent up the bat signal. You're my friend of,
Oh,
25 years. I'm in. It's good.
cool.
Just call me when you know something. And she laughed because she's like, the bat signal. I'm like, that's how I am with my people. Like, you're my
Yeah.
people. When my people send up the bat signal, I don't need details. We're good.
Carol is also that person for me. Like I will be in the car with her going, am I getting paid for this? Like, I don't even know. I don't even ask. It's like Carol said, are you available? I said, yeah, we're in the car or on the plane. Like
Yeah.
that level of trust
Yeah.
is just there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You send
So
up the
now
bat signal.
So I didn't check the schedule. Are you going to be doing a Funny Women show coming up anytime in the like this 6 months or this
No,
year
I
or at
just
all?
did one, and I mean, I might be. Carol could call, and I would.
That's true. Yes.
I just did one in Livermore with her
Mm,
right before the end of the year, and it was
Oh,
wonderful.
I love
yeah.
that venue.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was our
That's cool.
second time through, and they treated us so well, and
Yeah.
loved it.
Wow. And I'm sure it was sold out because they always
It
are.
was packed.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, so we are now at the point where you can promote stuff. I mean, not like you
Oh wow!
haven't been anyway, but so you're going to be on you said
I'm going to
Adam
be on
Carolla's
Adam
show?
Carolla February 10th. I am
Yeah.
doing a great off the hook comedy and this I'm excited about because it's a matinee. I'm doing off the hook comedy in Naples, Florida on Saturday the 15th. So if you screwed up Valentine's Day, if you're an older person, if you're a person of a certain age and you really screwed the pooch Friday, you can bring them to a matinee in Naples in a beautiful venue and then take them to dinner and have a makeup. So that's my next
And
big,
pretend
big
that's what you
show.
intended to do the whole time.
Amen. And then I
Yes.
have Hermosa Comedy and Magic Club, which is the best club on the East Coast on the 27th of February.
On the West
I
Coast?
Yeah, on the West Coast. West
Okay.
Coast. Yeah, East Coast is the cellar,
Yeah.
obviously. And then but I don't have any seller dates right now. I'm doing the seller in Vegas in April. And all of my dates are on my website, MoniqueMarvez.com. I have all of my dates coming up. But I
Right.
love being at Hermosa and I'm not exclusive to Celebrity, but they treat me so well. That seems to be the only people I'm working for. So I'm on their
That's a
newest, most beautiful
cruise line?
ship, the Ascent. Yeah, Celebrity
Oh,
Cruises.
nice.
I'm on the Ascent until we cross over to Portugal. I'm so excited to go to Gibraltar. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, I just have a ton of dates, hither and yon, but
Hither and
those are the
yon.
big ones.
And your dry bar special is available
Yeah, it was
on
the number one dry bar special of last year. I have 52 million views on their site, which just blows my
oh,
mind.
well, nobody else needs to watch it then. I think 52 million is enough, don't you?
It's crazy because I mean, God bless them. And I mean that really. I'm not saying anything in vain. The
Mhm.
fact that I flew to Utah only to get over my brother's death. My brother died
Oh,
suddenly in
wow.
21, and I went
Mm.
and filmed. This is a God thing. I went and filmed, and people even said, like, why are you doing a dry bar? You have Showtime, you have HBO, you've got this, you've got that. And I said, I need something on the horizon to write towards, to think about a change. They're lovely people. Their initial contact was lovely. I flew to Utah. I figured, look, I'll have pizza. Everybody said there's good pizza. And I said, I'll have pizza. And, and I went and I did the special. And 2.5 years passed and they didn't release it. And I
Yeah.
thought maybe they found
Wow.
out, maybe they saw me on YouTube and said, this is a multiple marrying minority Latina Catholic. Like, no, thank you. But it just turned out that they had a lot of faith in my special. They used it to launch their app. It was the same week that they launched the Dry Bar app. They've
Mhm.
shown me so much love, and I was the number one dry bar special of last year. And they just keep promoting it and cutting clips from it.
Yep.
And you never know
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the golden ticket is. And I thank God for them every day. It's changed my life. It's
Apparently.
like Angela Johnson's Korean nail lady. It has changed my life.
So
I
apparently
was
your
gonna
golden ticket was in Mormonville.
I was gonna pull out just a quick nugget from what you said, Monique, and this is what I'm talking about. Like some of the things that would come out in our conversations backstage. You said something, you did like, oh, were they not going to use me? Did they research me? And it's, don't world build. Don't create a story that somebody else is thinking about you when you
Yeah,
don't
I just let
know.
it go. I just
You
let the whole thing go.
exactly,
I forgot about it.
exactly. which is really, really easy to do in this business. Well, why didn't they call me?
I never emailed them. I never asked them what's up. And people kept saying, like, didn't Debbie Gutierrez film your weekend? Didn't Angel Gaines? Like, hers is out, this is out. I swear, I never gave it another thought till I got the email on March 19th of last year with an addendum to my contract because they were launching the app. Never gave it another thought.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. Now, Leanne, your dry bar special is called what?
Oh, that's a good question.
They do it by name anyway, honestly.
Yeah, they do. I think it's no, it's not. I think it's I mean business. That's what it is. It's I
Oh,
mean
I like
business.
that.
Oh.
And what was wild was that I recorded it in 2019, and then the world fell apart.
Right.
like the world and my world. And I forgot completely about it, and it wasn't released until 2021, and people were freaking out because people in the audience weren't wearing masks. And I'm like, this was from the before time, you guys, when we could be in the room and have a good time. And I will say, I would, I flew out. I got it last minute, flew out, and they treat you so well.
Don't they?
Oh my gosh!
And the pizza's good.
I'm not going to go out on a limb on the pizza because I didn't have any pizza. But no, the treatment was well. I mean, I don't know where my views are now. I just remember when it had over 1 million views. This was a couple years ago. I was like, what? Like, to have people that love comedy, promote comedy,
Yep,
do everything for you to succeed. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
So yeah.
Wow. That's very cool. That's very cool. So people check out Dry Bar. I mean, not just for Leanne and Monique's shows, but obviously for them first. And Monique, you are all over YouTube. You are all over the everything. And Leanne is all over social media, even though some people are, pulling away, and I can certainly appreciate that.
I was theoretically taking a break, but my taking a break still looks like most people going full speed.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you can find Monique Marvez on YouTube and on Spotify. I think, well, now certainly because we're on Spotify, and
Thank
on Showtime. And you can find Leanne on social media and also on YouTube. And
she's
you
hilarious
should
on
follow them.
social media. I don't know what she's
Thank
talking about
you.
taking a break. Hilarious.
I will say the platform that I am very much embracing right now is Substack, because it very much appeals to the writer in me. I tell people it's like OnlyFans for writers. And, I absolutely love it. I really, really do. And
You're
it
showing
gives
that
people
quill cleavage.
listen.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives people the opportunity to just follow you if they want to follow you, or to actually be a subscriber, like a paying subscriber. And that is just like, oh, I could just like hustle this. And I'm not a hustler like that. But when people when they like you and they love you, they are sometimes looking for a tangible way to support you. So I like that aspect of it, but I really just like being creative in the written way. That's my heart. That's my core.
And so, Leanne, where are you performing now? Next?
Well, my cat is giving me side eye, so clearly it's going to be in the kitchen, rustling up his victuals. But yeah,
I think again that's a redundancy. Cat and side
right?
eye. That's a redundancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That side eye is just permanent right there. But we are actually returning to Florida starting next week for the Funny Women of a Certain Age tour. This will be, I think, our 3rd year doing it. Sold out shows. Back by popular demand, will be at Delray Beach from it looks like the 16th to the 20th. Like
Nice.
I get a Valentine's Day dinner, and then I'm on an airplane.
Nice.
So people in Florida, they're sold out, but you check it out. Maybe in Delray Beach, maybe you can get a cancellation or a standing
Exactly.
room. Who knows? Yes. Go and see them, because funny women of a certain age are funny. I don't know if that's clear, but just so you know, I'm just putting it out there. Funny Women of a Certain Age, Delray Beach, Florida. Monique Marvez going to be on a cruise ship coming to a port near you any day now. Thank you very much, Monique. I know you're crazy busy. Thank you very much, Leanne, for taking time for talking to me. And this is all going to be linked and posted, and it's going up on Spotify on Monday, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And follow them. Follow everybody. Follow Funny Women of a Certain Age. Once again, thanks to you guys. Everybody say bye.
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 Thank you.